Joining us now is former New York City mayor and former attorney for President Trump. There he is, my friend, Rudy Giuliani. Rudy, great to have you here. Do you really think that President Trump will be treated fairly by this group of prosecutors and has up till this moment?
Just the opposite, Rita. First of all, he lied in two very significant respects. First, he himself has a very, very bad record for lack of ethics. I mean, how about a case reversed by the Supreme Court because he denied the defendant, in this case a governor, exculpatory evidence that would prove his innocence. The Supreme Court of the United States reversed the case. So I was a federal prosecutor and I supervised many, many federal prosecutors. This guy would be in the unethical, big-time range. I don't know his people working on the case, but I do think they've worked on several of these cases that have been very heavily criticized for highly unethical behavior. Second, he made a statement that's extraordinary. He said that in the United States, there's one system of laws, and it applies equally to everyone. Well, of course, that's the most ridiculous, idiotic statement to make on a day in which we find out that the Bidens took a $10 million bribe from a Ukrainian, Mykola Zlochevsky, which I could have told you, and did tell them 3 years ago. And they followed up on none of the evidence I gave them. They were hoping the people would disappear or die. It's extraordinary. I gave them one witness that any investigator would jump through hoops to go to. Gave them a witness who is a woman who was the chief accountant at this crooked company, Burisma. She was the wife of the former owner who died under suspicious circumstances. And she was willing to give up all of the offshore bank accounts, including the Bidens. And she supervised the transfer of a lot more cash to the Bidens and other crooked politicians for Burisma.
Are you confident that now the House committee is going to get to the bottom of that? Because that is stunning, Rudy.
I sure hope so. I mean, the reality is that we gave it to them in January of 2020. And the Pittsburgh U.S. attorney was very interested. And then in a very strange move, Barr took it away from him, gave it to the U.S. attorney in Delaware. He didn't do a damn thing about it. And the woman was under threat of death. So we tried to put pressure on them to do something. Look, suppose she was lying. You would find out in a minute. She wouldn't have the accounts. She either has the goods or she doesn't. And it's absurd not to interview her.
1,000%.
She claimed she had bank accounts and that the Bidens got a lot more money under the table than already we had $8 million on the table that we could prove, which they could prove tomorrow if they wanted to. They could have proved it 3 years ago, Rita. They could have indicted him before he ran for president and obviated this problem. We could have found out if he was innocent or guilty in January of 2020. All the witnesses were there. And I have him on tape, like Shokin. Shokin was willing to come and testify. That's the prosecutor who will tell you he was dismissed because they wanted to fix the Burisma case. And he got fired because Joe Biden required the president of the Ukraine to do it. Actually called him 4 times in 6 days and basically hounded him to death. And you have 4 recordings, not recordings, I'm sorry. You have 4 indications of 1-hour telephone calls between Biden and the president of the Ukraine during that very period.
Wow, that is stunning, Rudy.
And you have his testimony. Oh, by the way, it's also corroborated by his deputy who heard most of the conversation.
So let me ask you, Rudy, where do you see it going from here? Because that is explosive. You know the details obviously extremely well. Now we're finally seeing that the House committee, as you know, they just got the document basically tying we've heard reports it's a Burisma executive who says basically.
It's very powerful.
So where do you see it going now that the House committee, and it seems like every single, at least Republican member that came out said this is a bombshell. Are you confident that now soon things will get expedited and at least it's going to get looked into?
I am. You know, Rita, there are, I don't want to exaggerate the number, But there are a number of other revelations like that, like the one I just told you about, that are to come. So to say this is the tip of the iceberg is not an exaggeration. First of all, it's a lot more than $10 million that they got. So there's a lot of money to go through yet. There are a lot of documents. There's a whole money laundering transaction of $14.2 million, which is proven by a not a Latvian, I think the document comes originally, maybe Latvia, I'm not sure, but it's a document that is on one page, a complete $14 million money laundering transaction in which Hunter Biden shared, the Biden family, and Joe Biden, there's an indication, got $800,000 of it. That document I put out in, I'd say, February of 2020, and it's on a podcast around that time.
Well, Rudy, listen, we have to get to the bottom of this. This is really fascinating. You got to come back on again soon, my friend. And let's hope now that it's there. Hopefully the House committee will start to look at it and figure out all these different shell companies
they got plenty
and
to
everything
look
else.
At. Yeah, people should realize that what they revealed this week is the beginning of a group of revelations. Let me say conservatively, 7 or 8, similar to that they could do over the next 3 or 4 weeks, of people who could directly testify to Joe Biden getting money when he was the vice president of the United States to do things for them. Like in this particular case, to get the Burisma case fixed so that the guy from Burisma got away with the $40 billion that he stole over a period of time. Of course, he was very, very grateful. He's the source, by the way. He's the ultimate source of the confidential informants information, Mykola Zlochevsky.
Right, and that also seems, by the way, that's what essentially the members of the House committee were also saying too as well. Rudy, this is Blockbuster. Thank you very much. It certainly shows that the next few weeks are definitely going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rudy, very much. We love you. Thanks for being here.
As usual, Rita.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. You too, my friend. Thank you.